Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chat.
I'm Richard.
I'm Girish.
I'm Jha.
And we are here saving the planet one show at a time.
Yes.
And we are so excited to introduce our special guest. You already said hello, but
Hello,
who are you?
I'm Girish Jha, coaching, mentoring for the last 45 years in the Eastern Wisdom aims at self-discovery. That includes different schools of yoga, especially the mindfulness and meditation. And I have been applying these practices to professionals, to the executives, to the leaders, including the people suffering from substance abuse.
So you're an expert helping people recover from mental...
Yes. People call me as an expert, but
Yes.
I
Yes.
personalize and customize these programs and practices to different groups of the people.
And you are...
I'm Jha Doer, and I also teach yoga. I started teaching to children, and then I teach to corporations and workshops around the valley to a few studios with mostly Thai yoga workshops, and then Girish and I do meditation workshops together. And
you do this with Girish.
some,
Okay.
and some by myself, yeah. So for the past 20 years here in the valley.
I love it.
Oh, wonderful.
It's just such a beautiful show to heal people, and that's what you do.
Sure.
It seems so complicated, but is it complicated?
If I say Eastern Wisdom is the simplest and the easiest way, only thing is required that we require a common sense to understand these principles, and we should apply in daily life.
Mm-hmm.
Take an example of the mindfulness. What it says, just be aware of the flow of the breath. Does it look complex?
No,
Not
it
at
doesn't.
all.
No, not at all.
But it is very complex if you are suffering from anxiety and stress and depression.
Okay, so you heal people that are
Yes.
primarily depressed,
Yes.
stressed.
Stressed.
I know people with
Suffering from-
military,
Yeah, in the military, and those who are having
a
some
drug addiction.
drug addiction, those who have constant anxiety,
And then you also help
even
people
the
in relationships.
Yeah, relationship.
In
problems.
relationships.
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw that. So let's say there's a couple and they're, dating, and they are not connecting, and they really are not a good couple together. How do you help them?
Yes, when we say the two people are not connected, it means their mind is not connected.
Mm-hmm.
And if their mind is not connected, it means we have to dig deep inside their behavior, attitude, and how their mind is functioning.
So let's say your family member is dating somebody that you don't think is a good match.
You see,
And do we send them to you?
yes, I receive a lot of couples
Uh-huh.
who wants to improve their relationship. One, and the Eastern Wisdom says that, just take an example that you are dating. So at the time of the dating, you feel that, oh, I love this guy or a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens after a few years? That love fades away.
Mm-hmm.
What happens after that? Now you are ready to divorce. So it is the same couple. We started with the dating, full of love, so-called full of love, and then they had differences, and in the end they divorce. So where is the problem?
Good question.
The problem is in the mind. The way the mind perceives and takes for granted that today I love you and tomorrow I hate you. It is the mind.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So Eastern wisdom says that we have two types of the mind. One is the impure mind, other is the pure mind. So the impure mind projects happiness and peace in the world outside. What it means? It looks at someone, maybe it looks at the checks and it says, okay, I love you. But I have to see that whether it is a projection of that happiness in checks,
Chet.
in chat.
Chet.
Chat.
Yes.
Sorry, in
There you
chat.
Chet. But he likes the word checks because he likes checks.
But I was gonna say, I think yoga is one of the best things to reset your mind and your body and get you back to that pure mindset. Like if I'm having a stressed day or a bad day, doing like a 20 or 40-minute yoga flow is always like, it feels so amazing afterwards, and it just allows you, it forces you to meditate because you're so focused on your breath and hitting that next pose properly that it forces you to totally reset your mind, in my opinion. Like
Chet's a
when I'm-
daily yoga
you are-
practice.
Chets, you are perfectly right that I do some mindfulness practice every day, or a yoga flow, or any form of the yoga. It helps us to reach to that state of mindfulness or calmness.
Mhm.
But
Big time.
Eastern wisdom, the yoga is just a part of the Eastern wisdom. So what has happened in the West, that we want a quick fix. Do the yoga flow, do mindfulness, do meditation, and you are relaxed now. So what happens the next day? You have the same problem, so you are going to repeat the same practices. So in the West, not everyone, but we lack the actual philosophy and the principles,
Which is?
Eastern wisdom says that you have to transform the mind so that this mind continues to live into the state of purity, peace, happiness, love,
Harmony.
and wisdom. Then what happens? It takes you to the state of awakening. So what happens after the awakening? Whether you do the practice or not, you live into that state. So those principles are missing.
So you're saying taking control of your mind, your thoughts.
There are two things in that.
Well, and what I got from that is that you're saying it has to continue beyond just that 20 minutes when you're practicing the yoga. It has to be like a mindset that you carry out throughout the whole day and into the next
Not only
day.
whole day, every week,
Mhm.
every month, every year.
Mhm.
That is
Every-
what Buddha did.
Every
That
breath.
is what Krishna did. That is what the great masters did.
Mhm.
They reached to that state of consciousness. Now I'm using another word, not the mind. So what happens by constant and regular practice of the Eastern wisdom, that the time comes you transcend the mind.
So define transcend.
So once you're
I
at,
know what it means.
so
I know
once
what it
you're at
means,
that
but
point, are you basically past the point where like the small frustrations of the day really affect you? Because sometimes I feel like I'm very good at keeping a positive mindset, but you know, one day you'll have that person that cuts you in line, and then somebody cuts you off on your way home and you almost hit them, and then whoever you're meeting was 20 minutes late, and then you're like, okay, I have some frustration. Does that end up going away when you have reached that level of enlightenment, or is that always something that kind of is just a human reaction, and then you kind of will have to do something to reset?
great question.
Because
It's,
well, there are those frustrating things that
Smart.
happen that are just out of your control, and I think doing some type of a meditation or yoga or a physical activity that also forces you to concentrate on your breath, it's such a good reset for when you have those little frustrations.
Chet has asked a beautiful question, and I will just answer based on the teachings of the great master. First principle, it says, mind is of two types. Manohi devidham proktam, I'm just saying in Sanskrit. Ashuddham kama sankalpam, shuddham kam vivarjitam. Mind is of two types. One type is the impure mind, other is the pure mind. Second principle, the impure mind is caused by a desire seeking happiness from the world of objects and a person and a relationship. And second is the projection. One is the desire to seek happiness outside, where it is not.
I don't know what that means.
Is happiness outside? If the happiness is outside, for example, in pasta, you go to a restaurant and you say, no, I'm very happy eating the pasta, it gives me happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time you go there, third time you go there, so what happens? Your sense of that pleasure starts diminishing.
Okay.
And then you go to the second kind of a food. So it proves that the happiness is not located in the pasta. Same way, the happiness is not located in your honey. If it is located in your honey, then you should never have any differences.
Wait, when you say your honey, your partner,
Yeah, your
Yeah.
what,
your wife,
yeah,
your,
your partner, your
relationship.
any
husband,
partner,
and
whoever
your
you love,
son, your daughter,
relationship.
yeah.
So you can't seek happiness from somebody else.
The moment you seek a happiness from someone else, it is a projection. My mind is projecting that happiness, and whatever we project is false.
So you have to be happy from within.
Now we are coming to the right principle. So what happens? This mind, because of the impurity, creates a false I. That false I in a superficial person likes Richard because I like Richard, hence I love him. But if I dislike Richard, I don't love him. So that is a projection. So the false I keeps projecting happiness and peace
Mm-hmm.
in the world outside, in person, in relationship, in the event, in celebrations. Now Eastern wisdom says that behind this false I there is a real self. And that real self is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. The entire journey of mindfulness or meditation or any practices that includes the different forms of the yoga aims at self-discovery. I have to discover the real self. And then whatever the statement you made, that you reach to a state, now you are thinking, speaking, and acting out of real self. You are not thinking, speaking, and acting out of the false I. So that is the meaning of transcending the mind.
Okay.
I'm coming to
Now
that.
I'm totally understanding. Yes.
So
You may also,
I'm
That
making
makes
it very
sense.
simple.
yes, that's true.
Yes. Because everybody can look up that definition, but really, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. So sometimes people try to find peace and love and harmony in their partner, and they feel like that brings it to them, but it has to come from within.
It has to come from within.
Yes.
So it means that every human being has a potential to discover one's own nature. Now you will say, what will happen if I choose a partner? Choose a partner. You have already found peace and happiness in you. You continue to think, speak, and act in peace and happiness. So if your partner is not working along that line, he or she will leave you, or he or she will change. Because you are constantly working in peace and happiness. Now you are not expecting peace and happiness from the partner. You are expressing that peace and happiness to a partner who is expecting, and gradually and progressively you exert an influence through the real self, through the higher consciousness.
I love it.
So even the other person may change. If they don't change, you are still in peace and happiness. If they change, you are still expressing peace and happiness.
So meaning you
So
can,
one question I have.
Yes.
So you said that basically anybody who's trying to find happiness through some type of a means, whether that's drinking or food, whatever. If you're trying to just chase that high, that's never going to be true happiness. But one of the things that I feel like brings me a lot of genuine happiness is I'm always trying to savor the moment, no matter what I happen to be doing, because if I'm getting to exist at all, I'm happy to have that moment. So whether I'm having a coffee or I'm exercising, getting to use my body, I always am trying to savor the moment. Even if I'm just here conversing with you guys right now, getting to use my brain and conversation skills. So is that same, like chasing something that's not true happiness, or is that a healthy mindset?
Savor a moment.
I'm always trying to savor the present.
Savor the present or living in that moment.
Yes.
Understand very clearly the real self is all pervading. It is present all the time. Whereas the mind defines the event in the world with the past, present, and the future. The time belongs to the mind. Timelessness belongs to the real self. So when you say the savor the presence, for a moment, definitely you touch the real self of which you are not aware.
Mm-hmm.
So what the Eastern wisdom does, Eastern wisdom through its principles, through its practices, helps you to follow and treat the path to reach to that state where this presence is all the time, 24/7, days after days, weeks after weeks, years after years, and you live into that state.
Yes.
So make it constant. So it's
Make it a constant. Make it you live into that state of calmness in the peace. But whereas the mind as an instrument is doing all the work outside.
Jerry, do you agree with all this?
I do, but back to Chet's question about what happens when you get frustrated, somebody cuts you off, and
yeah, those things are going to happen.
They're
It's
gonna
inevitable.
happen. Every day something happens, good, bad, indifferent. And I think the idea is not to expect that those things won't happen, but embrace them, as you mentioned, being in the moment. And so if you really truly can live in that moment, then each moment becomes auspicious in the way that you know that you're going to do, think, say the right thing at the right time. So there are sad things that happen. And so even though our happiness is in here, in those really sad times of loss, disappointment, because we do reach towards things in this world. We have goals and we don't always meet them, but there's a silver lining there. And can we reach for something without an expectation and also an openness to just see how it unfolds?
That is a wonderful response.
Well, I was going to say that it seems like I've been more present in the past few years, and now when something unpredictable happens, like that person cuts you off and then flips the bird, when that happens now, I get way less frustrated now that I'm more present. I'll just be like, oh, I bet he's having a bad day.
Exactly.
But I won't. It used to be like I would hit my steering wheel and then like want to go hit the punching bag because I would get riled up so easily. But now that I'm more present and I think a little bit more wise, I don't have as volatile of a reaction to such things. Obviously, you can still have a day where 3 people cut you off and then that goal that you set doesn't get hit, and then that's just kind of a dud of a day. But there's still a way to reset your mentality and get back to cherishing that moment, savoring the present. So
That is the beginning. What Jerry was saying and what you said, that is the beginning. So if we continue the journey of the Eastern wisdom, let me give a brief of it. It is 10,000 years old.
wow.
Buddha is only 2,500 years old. So it means before that, we had more than 3,000 texts,
Wow.
which is still available in the form of a manuscript, and then it was converted into the books. And we had 3,000 teachers.
Wow.
They validated each and every concept. Now coming to the concept, Eastern wisdom focuses on who am I? What exactly is the real nature? Second, what exactly is the nature of this universe? Oh, we had a session last week. What is exactly is the nature of the world? Third, then what is the supreme existence, if it exists? Fourth, once I know, say for example, you know who am I, can anyone frustrate you? Just give me a simple example. No one can frustrate you when you know your real nature, when you know your essence. Now, when you say, I find lot of unwanted, frustrated situation in the world, it means I have some expectation.
Well, basically, you're creating those situations.
Situation.
Yes.
Does this stealing is making me crazy? No. I don't have any expectations. So that frustration, that anxiety, that suffering, that duality, that anger, that hesitation comes only when I have an expectations.
Girish will often say and refer to in Eastern wisdom, they want us to empty the mind. The practice is to empty the mind. So empty the mind of your preconceived notions,
Yeah.
your habits, your expectations, your clinging, your desires. Doesn't mean that we don't enjoy. We enjoy. Right? We have the whole gamut.
Simple.
So profit, loss, thank you. To
Simple.
both.
Simple example I was giving in the last session. You go to a restaurant, you like the pasta, you eat it. Now here comes what is very important. Do you eat to live or live to eat? If you are obsessed with the pasta, your hunger belongs to the pasta. That causes the problem. You get the pasta, you eat it, finished. Oh, pasta is not available. Other food is available in the kitchen and I'm hungry, let me eat it. So mind due to the expectation, mind due to projecting the happiness in the pasta is causing the problem.
Well, see, this makes me realize that I am good at not having expectations, because I'm the type that would be just as happy if that restaurant was full and we had to go to the place next door, because I'm always just still savoring the moment, trying to be happy in the present. So
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, though, who would get mad about their expectations not being met. I guess the only time that I will lose my ability to control that is if it's something major, like, somebody rear ends my car, and that's like so unexpected that it wasn't even in my mind in the slightest. So but generally with something that's unconsequential, like having to go to a different restaurant, I'm always still just as happy savoring
That
the
is
moment.
why you're living in a present moment.
Yeah. And even if somebody rear-ended your car, Chet, I bet that you would get out and deal with it. I don't think you would get out and punch them or
Oh
scream
yeah,
at.
definitely not. I
scream
would
out.
no, I would handle it. I would not punch them or anything, but I would
Yeah.
still be like,
It's a little upsetting.
that's frustrating. I gotta go get it fixed. But I always end up circling back to like a glass half full mentality of being like, oh, I'm lucky that I have insurance to fix it and have another car to drive while it's getting fixed. But I still always go through that initial frustration. So I guess I'm still working on it. But
You see that the three questions, who am I? You know it clearly. What do you know, or what do you discover in Eastern wisdom, or through the mindfulness or meditation, which is a bit lacking in the West. So once I know that what exactly is my real self, the real self is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. Second, what exactly is the nature of this universe? So when I understand it clearly, now I can club together who am I with the universe, with the world outside. The world outside includes my people, relations, money, finances, personal, professional, social life. Now I know how the world is going to behave and what will be my response. And the third part is that what exactly is the supreme existence?
So I have a question.
So you know everything clearly, and then I will take up your questions. So
Okay,
now,
good. I like that. Ooh, I love this.
so now what happens? You have a clarity. In that clarity, the mind is pure. And now whatever you think, speak, and act out of the real self will not allow your mind to get upset, frustrated, agitated. Now you can ask personal questions.
Well, so like let's say you have a
Well,
sibling.
Well, no. One question.
let's
Wait,
say-
I have a really
Okay.
important
Okay,
question I
go
gotta
ahead.
ask.
Yeah,
What would
go
you
ahead.
What would you have to say about people that are from like the Northeast that literally part of their identity and self, a lot of them is like they have like a chip on their shoulder where they think that they're like aggressive or like a lot of the people from like the New York, New Jersey area.
Mhm.
That's like or Philadelphia, that area. They're known for like basically being aggressive and proud of it. And so what would you have to say? Do you think that
We are talking of the wave, not of the water. What it means? I have developed certain traits and identity through the mind, and I want to get identified with the wave.
Mhm. So,
When the
so
wave lives, wave rise and fall. What I'm talking of the water, the very essence,
so you think
which is
those
beyond the mind.
So you think those people at their core really still are, peace, love, and all those things, and that their mind is just telling them that they're aggressive and that kind of chip on their shoulder personality?
That is why I gave an example of the wave and the water. The water is wave, but the wave is not the water.
Interesting.
The moment I identify myself with any trait, anywhere, whether it is northeast or west or midwest or south, the moment I am identifying myself, it is created by the mind. Whatever is created by the mind is not my real nature.
Interesting.
Exactly.
A lot of those people in that area
You're
need some
getting
therapy
it.
then.
So if you know somebody that's dating somebody,
Here we go.
You already asked this.
Tell me,
that-
who is dating whom?
I
so
think
somebody's
Okay.
dating somebody,
Okay.
and let's say it's a family member. How do you get at peace with that person that like maybe you're not getting along with?
Two people are dating each other. What I have to do? Let them date.
Oh, so but what if it's coming between?
Now, if the person comes to me, I will definitely ask why you are dating. What are your expectations? No.
What I mean is, what if somebody you love is dating somebody that's coming
Somebody
between,
you
and you're not getting
love.
along with that other person? and it's-
You are
it's coming
talking of
between
a
you.
triangle.
No, let's say one of your children is dating somebody and that person is causing a problem in the family. What do you do?
America teaches us once you are 16 or 18,
Mm-hmm.
you are free.
Mm-hmm.
You are free from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
So if the kids come to you to ask you something, guide them. And if they are not asking you, don't poke your nose there.
Okay.
Let them learn from their own experience.
They'll learn.
Let them learn.
That's smart. That's good wisdom.
That's a best approach one should do. But if one is young and asking that now in the society people date, so I have also to date. Then as a coach, as a teacher, as a mentor, I will definitely explain me what exactly is dating, what it means by relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So then I will guide him or her that are you projecting your happiness and your love to someone else? Sooner or later, you will definitely be frustrated. Tell me any couple, including Romeo Juliet. They have to be frustrated. So when you transcend your mind and when you learn when you discover your real self, you know you date with the entire universe 24/7. What to talk of a boy and a girl?
Mm-hmm.
At present, you are dating with the entire universe in such a small studio where the recording is taking place. So, because your consciousness is all pervading, it is not limited.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of freedom.
Lot of freedom. So,
Mhm.
if the guy comes, obviously, or if the girl comes, I will explain to him or her that what exactly is the love. The love is inside you, happiness is inside you.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing of dating is to express your love, peace, and happiness to the others. When you are in the mode of givingness, others change. But when you are in the mode of taking, expecting, there is bound to be conflict.
Well, I'm somebody that is very forgiving, and I was raised that way, and I don't stay mad. But my ex-husband isn't very forgiving, and so maybe some of that has rubbed off on my two kids, and so right now, I just want to teach Chet to always be forgiving, because no matter what, I feel like my kids should always be best friends, no matter what, no matter who they're dating, who they're with. They should always be best friends.
Chad, you are right.
Like there's nothing that my sister can do. I'm one of 5, and I have, I sometimes have conflict.
Well, no, there's actually a better way to ask it. If
Okay.
you are,
I understood her question. I understood.
well, she didn't phrase it properly. She didn't give
Okay.
you the context.
Okay.
If you are trying to get to that enlightened state of self,
Mhm.
if there's somebody around you who always is an agent of chaos, who's always basically distracting, stressing, lying, but basically an agent of chaos is the best way to describe it. Do you have to get separation from that person to?
I have to ask a question. You are in the state of enlightenment.
No, if you're working towards getting there still.
Even you are working towards it and still you get upset. I don't understand this. Because you can never be upset even if you are in the process of getting the enlightenment.
I love
In
this.
one way.
Now you
So good.
know,
Yeah.
Oh, we
now
give you so many shifts.
know how to deal with the adversity
Mm-hmm.
in peace and happiness. And if you don't know how to deal that adversity or that craziness of other people or the environment in a peaceful, with inner peace and happiness, it means you are not following the process of enlightenment.
But so by that logic, do you not avoid people who are basically crazy
that is
or-
where the problem comes. That is why I told you, I made a remark in the very beginning that we have studied a fractional part of the Eastern wisdom in the West. We have not understood the entire process.
Mhm.
And I want to link her question. You were saying that,
Well, I want to.
Okay, so right now,
No,
Well, I want to
she-
equate it to a friend that I stopped being around because they were drunk driving frequently.
his friend
And
was.
that's
yeah,
literally
his friend.
risking people's lives. And so I said, this is somebody that I'm not going to be around anymore because multiple times I created a conflict with him trying to get him not to drive. And I think that's
doing my duty.
I was trying to be a good person. And one of the times, the final straw, he literally got cut off by the bar. They said, we're not going to serve you. You're too drunk. And he got frustrated about that and grabbed his keys to leave. And I grabbed the keys and said, you're not driving. And he literally tried to fight me for them. So I said, you know what? I have acceptance. I'm going to give you your keys. But you're never going to see me again. You're never going to hear from me again because I can't be around somebody who is putting other people's lives at risk. Because I try to emulate peace.
Chad is young, so what he did is right. So I
I
want
agree
So
with that. I agree with
avoidance
that.
sometimes
I agree
is
with
the
that.
best policy
I
when
agree
you're
with that.
dealing with somebody who's harmful is the only word.
Okay.
I'm just, I want to touch upon the forgiving. She is teaching you that you should have a forgiveness. So what happens in the journey of the Eastern wisdom when you start purifying your mind, when you want to remove that impurity,
Mhm.
one of the trait that you awaken in your mind is forgiveness.
Mhm.
So
Yay.
in US,
I wish I had a glass of
definitely
wine so I could cheers everyone.
in
Right?
modern psychology, we talk that, forgive that guy. But we give you the reason, cause and effect. What happens when you have a pure state of the mind? What exactly is the forgiveness? So in the West, we are missing that regular, following these principles, which is written in 3,000 texts.
Mhm.
For example, Buddha says the entire world is suffering. Why we are living into the world then? Why we are living if the world is suffering? We have to understand what is the context, what is the concept. When I project myself into the world, I create a self-created world. Here is a mom, here is a dad. Dad is crazy, mom is good, my honey is good, and my honey is bad. This is the universe I have created in my mind, which causes the delusion. Buddha says that world is suffering,
Yes.
not the world that I see.
So you
as
think
it
it's
is.
a delusion to say that it's
It's a
bad?
delusion.
It's a delusion to say that it's bad when somebody is drunk driving and putting people's lives at risk. That's your claim? That's an interesting point to make.
No, I don't.
That's not
I
what
don't
he's
think
saying.
you're saying that.
That's not what
I think he's saying that actually you were living wisely,
Okay.
and your actions were right.
Well, I did grow to forgive him because his girlfriend reached out to me and said, you cutting him off has changed his behavior, and he doesn't really do that anymore. And like, he basically reached out through her to wanting to like
should be nice to
rekindle.
him.
And I've forgiven him now because he doesn't do that anymore, but I still don't associate with him because the fact that he was willing to raise it to a fight like that was just
Oh, stop it. He was drunk. That's fine.
Yeah.
see, so you're making an excuse for
Well,
somebody,
no,
and I try to be peace
This is
and
good.
love.
This is good. Let's do some. We're doing
Well,
therapy
okay,
right
if
now.
you're trying to be peace and love and enlightened, you can't surround yourself with people who are trying to fight you when you help them.
No, and
At the
Girish was
same
saying
time,
to
that
guard yourself.
girl approached you and said that he has changed his behavior. So there the Eastern wisdom says, now because you are a seeker, you are treating the path of the self-discovery, and that is the right moment you should have called him. How are you guys? Wonderful. But you are holding yourself. Who is holding? Mind.
Well, I totally let the situation go now that I know that he is change of behavior. I'm like, okay, he's changed. I don't have to hold on to it anymore. But I guess I'm lucky I have so many other good friends who have never tried to attack me for helping them that I don't really want to roll those dice again.
Okay, but hold on. You said earlier that when he tried to attack you, he was drunk.
That's not an excuse.
Okay.
That is not an excuse.
Okay.
In my
See,
book, at least.
So let's segue to.
You see that Buddha talks about Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, I take refuge in Dhamma. So normally in the West we say I take refuge in religion, but it has nothing to do with religion. Dhamma means what to do, what not to do. The animals do not have that intellect and the free will to decide what is right, good, and proper
Mm-hmm,
to do.
Mhm.
So now take a simple example.
mm-hmm.
You are driving, the speed limit is 50, you are driving 60, so obviously I should not do it.
Mhm.
Now, why people do not understand? First reason is the impurity of the mind. Because I get obsessed, I have a lot of expectations. Now I'm excited, so that's why I'm driving. But what Eastern wisdom says, that if you are driving what is right, good, and proper, you are not going to be rewarded. We all have been driving under the speed limit, Richard, including you, so we are not rewarded. But the moment you overspeed, you are punished. So can I become aware of it? In the same way, can I become aware of relationship, living in the relationship, what is right and good and proper? The life is going to be full of joy.
Well, we tapped on that friend of his, but then Chet has another relationship where he doesn't like the boyfriend. So all of a sudden, he's cutting his friend off, because his best friend, one of his best friends, because the boyfriend is not being good. And I think that he should accept that, okay, I don't get along with the boyfriend, but I still love you, my friend, and we can get it together without your boyfriend. Does that make sense?
Yes. What?
How do you feel about that?
One thing I have to understand that on this path, I become a seeker. First, the seeker purifies the mind and he minimizes the expectations from the world, people, relationship, events, things. Exception. What is the exception? I need a food for my physical survival. I need the clothes from outside for physical survival.
Mm-hmm.
So there I have no compromise. But when it comes to relationship, I should be able to maintain my peace and the poise and inner calmness. Whether the person continues to live with me or just parts with me, that is his or her choice.
100%. You just got to accept it and move along.
So I am expecting, I accept that. What I accept, I accept my peace and happiness. So now see what happens, Kinga, that okay, I have left my good friend, so now I'm keeping a distance, so still I have an expectation. It will cause more worries than going along with those people whom I have left. So my mind has to be totally free. I have to check my mind before I build up a relationship with anyone. That is very important. If I don't keep my mind free in relationship to the world outside, then I have a problem of projection, then I have a problem of expectation. Sooner or later, it is going to hit you. It may cause you anxiety, it may cause you reaction, it may cause you frustration. So I don't want to be frustrated myself. So I look into my mind. I look into that response or reaction or hesitation in my mind. And I want to get rid of that. That is more important than having 100 good friends or one single enemy. It doesn't make any sense.
And
That is what Master talks about.
Yeah, and Girish is saying we focus on ourselves. And if we continue to keep that focus there, so not so much on what the son's doing or the chaotic father, but how does Kinga feel about it? And how does Chet, and how are we responding to it? And how are we keeping our peace in that chaos?
So you see that she raised a very beautiful, how I'm keeping the peace simply means how I'm keeping my mind constantly reflecting my real nature. I'm not getting away with it. The moment you forget the real nature, the mind starts projecting, mind starts seeking happiness, love, wisdom from outside. I told many a times in those group sessions that there is a guy, she's a woman, 66 years old, lives nearby. I don't want to tell her name. So when I told about this, she had her purification of the mind and she was very happy living alone. She has a good business. She asked me that why didn't you meet me 25 years ago? I said, then what? I should not have divorced. So you get that awakening. Because you now realize what happened at that time. Because you were obsessed, because you were attached, you were seeking, you had a lot of expectations, and now you followed the journey of the Eastern wisdom, you have purified the mind, you have reached to that state of awareness, heightened state of awareness, And then you realize what mistake I have done. And she further told me that, I was previously thinking that only my honey is wrong, but now I realize how wrong I was.
Interesting.
How I was so much obsessed. I should not have been.
Interesting.
Is there a way to kind of work on your mindset so that when you do get away from your real self, your thoughts are more pure and more, I guess, less chaotic and more just having more gratitude for, your existence and your experiences?
Yes.
Is that kind of just a byproduct of when you're in your final enlightened self?
It's a process. It's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
The seed does not become a tree overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want me
That's a
to
good example.
answer the question instantly, give me the tips and I will do it. It will never happen.
Mm-hmm.
Why it will never happen? Because your mind contains those past impressions. They will be expressed in different situations. They are not in your own control. So what we normally say that there is a process. So you understand yourself, you become a seeker. So we define what it means by becoming a seeker on the path of the self-discovery. Now I'm just briefing in a different way. Second is that I have to sit even for 5 to 10 minutes every day in the morning to remember the very nature of the real self. Why? Because I remember the false I. I have been doing everything with reference to the false I.
Mm-hmm.
Because that principle never came to my mind, whether there is a false I or whether there is a real self. So I have to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is what the practice of the mantra is. Then you have to start with the listening and learning these simple principles. So one of the greatest principle is discernment. Jerry knows it. What that discernment? That I should know how to recognize the false I with the real I. It goes so deep.
Mm-hmm.
So once you recognize what is false I, you analyze it, then you enter into the state of dispassion.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens in the state of a dispassion?
So that like once you notice a projection that's coming from your mind?
Yeah, it
Okay.
dissolves by itself.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the 50% of the work. So as you continue the journey, what happens? You awaken the 6 treasures of your mind. Do you remember? Jerry remembers.
What are they?
First treasure of the mind is the calmness. You experience the calmness. You want to get the things done, say from your friend. So you shout, but you don't get annoyed inside.
Mm-hmm.
You play your role
Mm-hmm.
like a Hollywood actor.
Mm-hmm.
Finished. So the inner calmness is maintained. Then the second treasure, that you know how to withdraw your senses somewhat which are responsible for your expectations. Lot of attachment and obsession. That is the second treasure of the mind. The third treasure of the mind is that now the moment your mind thinks of an idea of having a pleasure by eating the pasta or the chicken, your mind reminds you happiness is inside. But still, because you like chicken, go ahead, take it. But you're not obsessed. It will be available, take it.
Mm-hmm.
Not available, it's okay. Wine is available, take it. Richard? And if it is not available, don't take
Don't
it.
mind if I do.
Next time you're on the show, we're having wine.
And the
Pleasure.
fourth treasure is a transition. It is transformational. At the fourth level of the treasure, now as a person, as a seeker, you clearly recognize this is the false I, this is the real I. What is that attitude or the trait? It is the faith, that tremendous faith in yourself, that peace is within me. Beyond friends and foes, beyond relations, and beyond money, beyond whatever you do. That faith constantly triggers your mind to live into that state of the calmness and peace. But this is only 10% of the entire journey. Then you start recognizing what are the heightened and higher states of the consciousness before you reach to the state of enlightenment. I've been telling, and again, I'm repeating again, that part is missing. Some people are there, but I don't want to name those people.
I think I'm there.
Yeah.
No, I think I am. I don't say
No,
mad at
I
people.
don't want to name
Wait,
those
why is
people.
Richard laughing? Why is Richard laughing? So, Chit, do you think I say mad at people?
You should.
That's not what it has to do with.
No, it's
I thought.
It's a lot deeper than that.
Well, I feel happy. I feel happy. I feel like I feel peace. I'm not upset. I mean, I feel like I'm enlightened. Yeah, I do. I'm never depressed. But I know I keep pointing fingers at Chet right now, and the reason why I do is because he and I have a great relationship. But he's
You understand that if you're close to enlightenment, you wouldn't be doing
mad
that,
at a couple
right?
people right now, and I
That's
want him to like
funny
forget.
contradiction.
Don't
Why?
focus on him. Focus on yourself.
Okay.
But don't you understand that that's showing how far you are from enlightenment?
Focus on yourself.
The irony.
Okay.
Oh, I needed a good one.
Because if you are constantly pushing him and reminding him, one day he will be agitated.
Well, it's a new thing. This is not something that's been going on for a long
Well,
time.
he'll
It's a new thing.
It's a new thing.
It's a new thing.
So don't make it old.
Okay.
By repetition.
Stop.
Okay.
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 No, stop.
Very well.
So we only have like 3 minutes left. We'd like to do more shows with you.
Yeah.
I've learned so much. How can people get started if they want to get coaching from you? How can they find you? If they want to learn about this
Yes,
Eastern wisdom and
yes.
coaching and meditation and yoga and all that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And Jerry, we are already having Mondays and Thursdays online sessions
Okay.
from 8 a.m. to 9 Arizona time. So we have been continuing this journey for a couple of years.
4.
4 years.